Hello and welcome to Fine is a Four-Letter Word. My guest today is Jennifer Garman. Jennifer and I met actually when I heard her on our mutual friend Lisa David Olson's podcast. And then I realized Jennifer was kind of local to my area and reached out and we started a conversation, and here we are on my podcast now. Welcome, Jennifer.
Thanks, Lori. So happy to be here.
Well, let's dive into the first question that I'm always so curious about, which is, what are the beliefs or values that were instilled in you as you were growing up that have played a part in who you've become?
So many fun things. First and foremost, that you are not as important as everybody else. I think that was the one that was just pushed on me, or that at least I picked up on, is that everybody before you, and you should sacrifice yourself, your happiness, everything that you want to, better somebody else's life or be, of service or, whatever you want to insert there. I think that was probably the most detrimental one that I can think of. And then also just the perfectionist tendencies that came through of, you can control all these things and you have to do all these things the right way. And the illusion of control, I should say, that so blatantly hit me in the face later in life. But there's just, oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say,
you go.
Those were the two that most strikingly I remember and recall from my early childhood that has played a part later in life.
Were they openly expressed to you that this is how you have to be, or is this something that you took on in yourself? And the reason I'm asking that is because that perfectionist thing wasn't something that was put on me, but it was something that I somehow picked up on or made myself be the perfectionist.
Yeah, I think that a little of both, to be honest. I think that it was modeled, and I think that we tend to mirror our models early in life. And I don't know that it was, forced down my throat, but it was definitely spoken about in a roundabout way, if that makes sense. That, this is how we should be, and this is, what we should do, and this is, the right way to act, and, this is the way things are. And I didn't know any different. And so it all kind of I soaked it all in as a sponge would growing up. And, that just became part of my personality and who I was and what I did. And it had some repercussions later on, but I had no idea how much damage it could do.
So, how did that play out?
Oh, yeah. So there's lots of different ways, but probably the most significant way was that, this illusion of control is the way I lived for so many years, to the point where I thought I was doing great and I had this plate full of crap. And I was juggling so much that instead of having the thought of wait, I should kind of, purge my plate a little bit and get rid of stuff, I kind of precariously added to it and had more and more balancing on this little teeter-tottering plate, is that illusional image that comes to mind, that was just a ticking time bomb. And sure enough, it caught up to me at one point.
Well, that's so common. So many women and people, men and women, feel like, okay, I got this. I can do this. There's something wrong with you if you can't balance 500 plates at one time. And
yes.
Then when you have 500 to go, 501, sure, bring it on.
And almost congratulate yourself. Look at all I'm doing. I'm awesome.
Yeah. Well, and
I can multitask the crap out of you.
I have lived in other parts of the country, but yeah. Well, and so you and I live in the DC metro area, where I think it's amplified even more than in other parts. It's certainly in other parts of the country, but I think here, I rember overhearing conversations when I used to take the metro people are like almost bragging about how many hours they work and how busy they are.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
I hear it all the time. Yes, the pride factor going along with it.
Right. Like this is right. This is something I should be proud of, that I have 502 plates spinning and none of them have hit the ground yet.
Yeah.
So what happened then? So you're spinning all these plates, and
so I got all this
like
crap.
A circus. Yeah.
I got all this stuff on my plate, on my tippy toes, my little nose above water as best I can do. And then one day my health just was pulled out from under me like a rug, like almost like a light switch flipping off. And it was the beginning of a downward spiral for the next 7 years of health crisis after health crisis, after, mystery diagnosis to the next. And it was an awfully dark time in my life where my body just shut down and said that, you're not doing anything, so I'm just going to shut down on you because we can't go on like this.
Did you have any warning signals up to that point, or do you think you had any and you just didn't pay attention to them?
That's a good question. And I look back and I think that maybe there may have been a straw or two here. I had a vaccine that was like a 3-in-1 vaccine, a booster, when I cut myself on something that could have been rusty. And then I had a root canal. And then I had some questionable mold in my house. But it wasn't like that, that happened and then the following week my health fell off a cliff. It was like in conjunction, but it wasn't to the point where it was like, oh yeah, obviously that was the catalyst. That's what did it. So I don't really know because it wasn't a particularly stressful time. There wasn't anything I was going through. I was sleeping great. I was handling life great. And just one night, I just had complete and absolute insomnia. And then that went on from night to night to night to the point where I dragged myself into my doctor's office going, I have to sleep. I'm going insane. And that turned into taking this prescription and then that prescription. And then another symptom popped up. And then lo and behold, I was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease shortly after that. And it just kept snowballing on itself. And instead of getting better and getting symptom resolution, I was adding symptoms to my so-called plates. I was carrying more and more symptoms with me and baffling doctors going like, I don't know, but let's try this, and throwing spaghetti at the wall here and there for different things that didn't take or work.
Wow. How long ago was this?
This was back in 2010, 11-ish, that everything just unraveled for me.
And how long were you on the journey to figure out how to solve this mystery?
It was a 7-year journey.
Okay. And
yes.
So you were, to come back, we're on fine is a 4-letter word. Everything was fine up to that
Everything
point.
was fine, yeah.
And then everything was not fine. And then so you're going to all these doctors. None of them could figure out they were just adding more medications.
Yeah,
that's what
Band-Aids.
doctors love to do.
I call them Band-Aids and the prescription of prescription drugs. Yeah, it's and it's not to their fault or discredit because they have just a very small amount of time to spend with you. So I don't fault them whatsoever. They were trying their very best, but the best they can do was offer like a Band-Aid solution for a symptom or two and just wait and see if it helped. And unfortunately, I feel like I took on way too many prescription meds and kind of ended up in a worse place, so to speak, than had I not gone that route. But I didn't know any different. I thought, our medical system was there to help us and figure out what was wrong. And I thought I was doing everything to my best knowledge to help myself the best way.
What happened? Did you reach a point where you just said, all right, traditional medicine is not helping me. I need to find something else. What was your final straw in that part of the journey?
It wasn't really a final straw as more, I kind of ran out of options. You know, I'd seen all the specialists. I'd seen all of the recommendations the doctors had for me to try. And it kind of got to the point where like, well, there's acupuncture. Have you tried that yet? And I'm like, no, let's go give it a shot. And so I tried acupuncture. I tried chiropractic. I tried all of the alternative modalities, which, you know, it did help slightly. They did have slight benefits to them. I would say more so than Western medicine in my case, but it didn't really pinpoint and help with the crux, which are the root cause of my problem. So I felt like that was still underlying there.
What was your next, like, keep going on this journey?
Okay, so I did find all the alternative stuff towards the end. So maybe I didn't give it enough time to work. I will throw that out there, that maybe that, you know, I just didn't give it enough time. But I got to this point that I was just like exasperated. And I'm like, you know, I have tried absolutely everything and I'm not any better. Or I didn't feel any better at the time. And I just didn't know what to do next. And it kind of got to this overwhelming feeling in me that like, you know, oh my gosh, this like, what if, you know, and all these scenarios pop in your head. But I got this overwhelming calm and peace. And I just can't describe it as anything but that going. And I just got this clarity saying like, this is not terminal. You're going to recover from this. I don't know, you know, why that came in when it did. But shortly after that, the opportunity to study to be a life coach was presented. And I decided that, you know what, I need a passion. I need something other than my health to focus on, because that had been my absolute focus, or my primary, I should say, focus for a good part of those 7 years. And I needed something to take my mind off that. So I decided to study for my life coaching certification. And that led me down the path of, you know, the power of our thoughts and gratitude and neuroplasticity. And I really just started soaking all that up, and to the point of, you know, I went beyond my studies as a life coach and read authors like Joe Dispenza and Bruce Lipton and Norman Doidge and, you know, pioneers in neuroplasticity and, you know, mindset. And I was very, very intrigued of all of these like crazy things that people had done, like, you know, stage 4 cancer and, you know, literally breaking your back and healing yourself with the power of your thoughts and mindset, that I was just blown away. So that's at the point where I decided that, hey, all this kind of fell into place at the right time because I was supposed to try it. So that's what I did. I sat down with all the stuff that I had learned, and I used gratitude as my root emotion. That was my pillar. And I brought neuroplasticity techniques in, and I practiced that for hours a day. And it was within 3 days, I kid you not, that my energy shot through the roof. I felt this amazing surge of powerful energy, healing, powerful energy. And I knew there was something profound about this. So I kept going. And within 30 days time, and not even a month's time, all my symptoms had resolved.
That's unbelievable.
It so truly incredible. Is.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I look at myself going like, oh, I only had, you know, this like mystery illness. I could still get out of bed, walk around and kind of drive a car and stuff. I wasn't like, you know, paralyzed from the neck down or, you know, stage 4 cancer or something like that. So I kind of looked at it like, you know, that this was incredible, yes, but there's been people who have done way more incredible than what I did. And I still didn't believe that I did anything. Honestly, I thought that this was just a, you know, a happenstance still. I'm trained as an engineer, so I'm trained to look at everything as a skeptic.
Right. It's just a fluke. I don't know. Back up a minute though, because were you working in those 7 years when you were trying to find a solution and you were still suffering, were you working outside your house, or you had young children that you were trying to take care of, right?
I did. I had to leave my job that I absolutely loved, my full-time job. I was doing part-time work, which didn't really account to even more than 5 hours a week. And I could barely do that job. But that was my whole duration of the 7 years. It's just very, very part-time, 5-ish to 10 max hours a week. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh,
now
okay.
I can.
Okay. Did we glitch?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a little something there. And you were taking care of young children at the same time?
Yes, 3 young kids.
Yeah. So it's interesting. So you didn't know anything about the power of the mind before you started life coaching or training to be a life coach?
Nothing.
That's
I've always heard of
amazing to me.
Yeah, power of positivity, all that. Like, yeah. I was just kind of like, yeah. There's glass half full people. There's glass half empty people. I didn't really see a difference between the two.
It's so interesting to me because I've been an entrepreneur for so long, more than 20 years. So to me, being an entrepreneur is a lesson in personal development every single day. But people who are in corporate don't necessarily have those same, I don't want to say same resources, but they're not delving into personal development in the same way. So these concepts that seem so common to me, I have to realize are not common to everyone. Like you discovered it. I don't know. I'm not going to say out of coincidence because we both know that's not a thing, but
right.
When the time was right, but that you didn't know about them when you were still in corporate.
Yeah, I didn't. And I think that a lot of that's changing. I think it's becoming much more mainstream. But back then, I don't think that a lot of this was really talked about to the extent that it is now.
Yeah.
And I don't think that a lot of research was there yet either. I think there's a lot more research backing up all this that, you can't just chalk it up to like, woo-woo good vibes anymore. There's like science-backed research showing that this stuff is real.
Yes. And so, right, that was the commonality because I was talking about gratitude back in 2003 with the gratitude cookies. And then gratitude has become your favorite topic. And so that's where we originally connected, was over that topic.
Yes.
Yeah. And the research and studies that have been done on the power of gratitude and how it affects your biochemistry, your every aspect of your physical and emotional and mental state.
Every cell of your body. Yeah.
Yeah. So
as does negative.
Right. Exactly. Well, I always say, I talk about visualization and using visualization, gratitude and visualization and meditation to reach your goals faster, to manifest the things that you want into your life. And then I talk about it works for bringing positive and negative. And what do you call visualizing negative things? That's what you just said. Worry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
All right. So your 30 days are up. You're completely healed?
Every symptom was gone. I would not say that at that point I thought I was healed. I just thought that this was a strange coincidence that was going to come back to me at some point or another.
Did you go back to doctors and they tested you and said, well, I don't see any evidence anymore?
No, because there wasn't really anything concrete to test. I never had a actual diagnosis of 100% this was what was wrong with me. There were stabs at Lyme disease, mold toxicity. Those probably are the two most likely. Mm-hmm. But everybody has mold. Everybody's probably been exposed to bacteria or Lyme-like spirochetes, in their life. And some people get sick and many people don't. So I truly believe that the power that we have over our cells is way above and beyond any environmental factor that we can get hit with. So and I did not understand this at the time. So I really, after those 30 days, did a deep dive into all the research. And that's when I kind of looked at the books more, not so much as wow, look at these miracle stories, but what's behind why this worked, and that's where a lot of Joe Dispenza's work came in, because he's really put those two connections together, the how, why, and the science and the research. And I was just, my mind was blown when it came to, finding out all that's been looked into and done in this area. And that's when I started to believe that okay, I very well may be fully healed. And sure enough, I was.
Why do you think so many people don't want to believe that mind-body connection exists or that it is as powerful as it is.
I think it just comes down to Newtonian physics. People don't understand, and scientists even say that they do not understand quantum physics. But the reality is we are all energy. Everything in our life, everything in this universe is energetic. But we see it as a table. We don't see it as energy because it has solid form that we can touch and feel. So our mind will want to go to that Newtonian physics, like I need to touch it, I need to see it, there needs to be a cause and effect that I can understand. And it's such a jump to say like, okay, I'm going to be open to all of this is energy and this table's not really real, it's just energy. And that's a huge leap of faith that some people just can't wrap their head around. And I think that's kind of the underlying reason why a lot of people can't go there.
I am fascinated by this whole topic because why would you? I don't know. I'm gonna if there is something that could heal you that is as simple as thinking good thoughts. I mean, there's a little bit more to it than that, but that is essentially what it is. If you want to boil it down to its simplest form, why would we not want to employ this tool, if you will?
Yeah, I think a lot of people get there out of desperation going, I've tried everything else that I understand. I'm just going to give this a try too. But I think that, maybe it's stubbornness too. That, we don't want to dive into something that we don't get or doesn't make sense. Who knows? Yeah. I think that people just, they need to be open-minded. And I think that we can all see how closed-minded we're getting with all of this political and COVID and all this stuff that's going on. We're going in the wrong direction with open-mindedness. That's for sure.
Yeah.
We need to be going in the opposite way. We need to be open-minded. We need to see other people's views and opinions and be open to the fact that, we don't understand and know everything. And there's, boundless potential out there that could benefit us.
Yes. So now are you on a quest to help other people understand how to use their mind to heal themselves? Where have you taken all of this information?
Yeah, so I am now a mindset coach. I help overstressed, overwhelmed women, particularly moms that are working. Those have tended to be my clients that come to me and just say, like, I don't know what else to do. I'm at my wit's end. And something's got to change, but I just don't know what. And we kind of dive in and we just go through, finding that root cause and finding, techniques and modalities that can help them quickly overcome the challenges that they're dealing with. And gratitude is a huge part of that. It's something that's part of every day of my life. It's part of everything I share. It's what I believe was the center point of what healed me, was that focus on gratitude. And it just gets you completely out of the negative when you go to gratitude. You can't be angry, depressed, or anxious and grateful at the same time. It's impossible to be any of those negative states while you're grateful. And I think that's one of the reasons it's so powerful.
What exactly did you do in terms of seeing or feeling more gratitude when you were in the process of healing yourself, one, and two, what are the things that you do on a daily basis now to be in gratitude?
So what did I do specifically when I healed? Is that what you asked?
Yeah, those first 30 days, what were you doing to specifically?
So specifically, I was saying that, I choose not to be sick and I choose not to have these symptoms. And what I choose to have is this life that, was vibrant, passionate, energetic, full of life. And I focused on that state that I wanted to be. And I was grateful for the state. Without being in that state, I was grateful for the state that I knew was coming. I had to have trust and faith, and I did, that it was coming. And I just focused on that with all of my senses. And I did that meditation for hours a day, where I just focused on that state, how it felt, how it smelled. For some reason, it smelled like sunscreen. And
Cool.
I don't know where that came from, but that's what it smelled like. It's just a really good, like, banana boat sunscreen.
Uh-huh. All right.
And I got to the point where I just got goosebumps of how good it felt. And I just relished in that with gratitude for that future feeling as long as I could possibly hold on to it. And I had to play around with it because, certain states that I would pull from in the past where I'd had that feeling would fade. And I'd have to go to different memories to pull that full feeling in. So it wasn't always sunscreen, but that was the one that I remembered first. And day after day, I would do this focus, meditation and bring gratitude in and just with all my senses completely feel it. And I would do neuroplasticity techniques too. I would brush my teeth with my left hand. I would try and get dressed backwards. I would take showers in the dark. I would do things to just, change things up. As well as I took on juggling. So after I would do this, meditation that, where I felt so myself in the future, I would juggle. And I would drop a lot of things at first, but I got kind of good at juggling. Because you want to ingrain those pathways quicker. That's part of neuroplasticity, is the more you just change things up, you want to then ingrain this in your brain like, hey, this is something we're going to come back to a lot. So get that in there quick.
So you went to the juggling, the actual literally juggling.
Juggling beanbags,
instead
yes.
Instead of juggling the 500 different tasks and things that you had been doing 7 years prior. I gotcha. Okay.
I did. I went to from juggling back to juggling. Yeah, I never thought of it like that.
Okay. All right. And I thought of Greg's going to have so much editing to do with this one. I thought of a question as you were talking about, I know what I was going to say, which is when I create the customized gratitude meditations for clients, that what you were doing instinctively is exactly what I'm doing with them as I take them through the meditations, which is the visualizing and the feeling as if it's already happening because, as you know, the brain doesn't know the difference.
Exactly.
It feels and sees whatever you're visualizing as if it's happening right now.
Right. And that's very powerful.
What's your practice now?
My practice is different day to day. It's always got gratitude in it, but it's now more towards, what I see with my career and with the ways I'm going to help people. And I'm getting into speaking. So, my speaking events that are coming up. And I always position it that I'm so grateful in people that I'm helping and keep it very service oriented because that's what drives me. It's what gets me up in the morning. The passion that I have to help people so that they don't spend 7 years. Hopefully they don't even spend, 7 weeks feeling like I did. And that they can understand that there's so many modalities and things out there that they may never have heard of that can help incredibly in their lives.
Fantastic. All right, before we go, I have two more questions for you. One is, so we've been speaking about how to get yourself into that state of feeling good and feeling better. What's the song that you go to when you want to get charged up?
I actually have a playlist on my Amazon Echo, Alexa, whatever you call it, and it's called Happy Songs. So I just say, Alexa, play Happy Songs.
Love it.
And I've got like 20 songs on there, but my two favorite ones, and it's a dead tie because they both just energize me. Top of the World by Imagine Dragons and Best Day of My Life by American Authors. I love those two songs. They instantly put me in like a feel good, like I got it mode.
Yes. Oh, I love both of those too. All right. Well, we will put links to those songs in the show notes. And then if people want to get in touch with you, learn more about how you overcame the challenges that you had, if they're interested in working with you, how does someone reach you?
Well, I'm on LinkedIn. So Jennifer Garman, a mindset coach on LinkedIn. They can reach me at my email, which is thegratitudemission@gmail.com, or through my website, which is Jennifer Garman, spelled with A-N, .xyz.
Okay. And we will put that in the show notes as well. Thank you so much for joining me today, Jen, for on Fine is a Four-Letter Word.
Thanks so much for having me, Lori. It's been great.